Just last month, Honda and Nissan were agreeing to work together to share technologies, to develop technologies together to reduce costs, to bring vehicles to the market faster, and to compete a little bit better in today's very expensive and competitive market, especially with the rise of affordable Chinese cars. Today, these collabs just keep rolling in. This is one I did not see coming. Hyundai and General Motors signing an MOU, a memorandum of understanding to explore collaboration on vehicles. I mean, collaborations between automakers are nothing new, but since covering autos for the last 5 or 6 years on this channel, there has never been this sort of explosion in collaborations. I'm excited for it, and we'll talk more about that here in a little bit, but we're going to finish today with Akio Toyoda, chairman of Toyota, heading to South Korea to strike some sort of deal or to entertain the idea of Toyota and Hyundai working together. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kirk, of course. If you're new, I talk about cars all the time. So if you enjoy car talk, car news, car reviews, I'm actually here in Nashville. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting ready to drive the new Civic Hybrid and the new Civic Si, both refreshed and updated for 2025 model year. I'm excited to give you those driving impressions in the coming days. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell icon for that sort of coverage. And let's get into, no, not Nissan. This is the big one today. Hyundai and General Motors signed memorandum of understanding to investigate joint product development, manufacturing, and future clean energy technologies. Both companies to target improved efficiencies, increased competitiveness through collaboration. They're looking for ways to leverage their complementary scale and strengths to reduce costs and bring a wider range of vehicles and technologies to customers faster. I mean, when I think of the Chinese auto industry, there's new products coming out all the time, and they're very low cost. I think this is like these collaborations are very much a part of that, but also outside the Chinese market, we're having difficulties with pricing. The auto market's cooling off in the United States for some brands a lot faster than others. And a big part of that is affordability. High interest rates aren't helping, but sticker prices have ballooned over the last decade quite heavily. We're still at near all-time high prices. It was about a year or two ago when we got to like 46 grand for your average new car price. I want to say it's around 43 grand right now. Still too high in today's market, I would say. And the hopes and dreams, at least right now, of customers or potential customers wanting to buy their first new car, for example, it seems to be shrinking, especially since the lower priced options aren't there anymore, like Mitsubishi Mirage. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good car, but I'm saying you had that option. Mirage is gone. All those small cars that used to bring great value around $15,000 to $17,000, they're all gone. The closest thing now would be a heavily discounted Sentra or something like that, because the Versa's on the way out too. Anyways, these companies need to start working together to bring down costs, bring products out faster, and to share their resources in order to make their cars even better. And these potential collaboration projects for GM and Hyundai could be commercial and passenger vehicles, internal combustion engines. Are we going to see V8 sharing with Hyundai? Hyundai's had V8s, but they had to cancel them. But anyways, clean energy, electric, and hydrogen technologies. I mean, could we see General Motors lend their body on frame trucks? And could we see some rebadging with a Hyundai badge on a Silverado or a Suburban or something like that? I highly doubt it, but hey, anything's possible when these automakers start working together. And of course, they're going to review their opportunities in areas such as battery, raw materials, steel, and other areas. Mary Barra from GM signed this MOU, as well as Hyundai's CEO, Yusun Chung. And it's not like they're putting this off. According to Automotive News, this sort of deal is to immediately assess. They're already in talks for cooperation, resource sharing, platform sharing, development. Both companies said cost reduction and increased scale are key priorities. Yes, this is huge. If you can have, let's say, one supplier making the parts for Hyundai and General Motors instead of having multiple suppliers, it's going to drive down costs. And these automakers are just finding ways to make sure they have well-priced cars in the uncertain future, right? But this one here caught me by surprise. Toyota and Hyundai? I mean, obviously General Motors and Hyundai caught me by surprise, but Korea and Japan, the two biggest automakers out of those respective countries, striking a deal potentially. There's no deals have been struck yet, but with Akio Toyoda going to Korea, this is fascinating. He's scheduled to visit South Korea from October 24th to 26th. If you guys are excited like I am for that visit, make sure you subscribe because there's going to be some juiciness coming out of this visit. It's like the Pope visiting your country almost. During his 3-day visit, Chairman Toyoda is expected to meet with key officials from Toyota's South Korean operations and major dealer representatives. I forget that Toyota has business down in South Korea. It has to be very, very small. I think Nissan may have been a little bit bigger there at one point. You know, Kia, Hyundai, those are the brands there that sell extraordinarily well. I think General Motors might have some sort of footprint there, which makes sense after that collaboration today. And a highlight of Akio's visit will be a private meeting with Yu Sin-chung. He just struck a deal with General Motors, Mary Barra, right? That same gentleman is bringing the world's third largest manufacturer to the table with Akio Toyoda. This meeting marks a rare convergence, absolutely. And the Korean car blog here is saying that a big portion of this is for pushing hydrogen. Look, Toyota just teamed up with BMW to supply. Actually, Toyota is the supplier of hydrogen tanks and hydrogen fuel cell stacks, to my understanding, to BMW, and then BMW will build a car around it. Could Toyota and Hyundai be working on hydrogen technology together? Absolutely. Here's the thing. South Korea and Japan don't have hardly any natural resources for batteries. China, on the other hand, they can pump the brakes on hydrogen if they want. They have the entire supply chain for batteries there in their country. They have all the raw materials. Smaller countries and minerally deficient countries, I guess you could say, like South Korea, like Japan, they need to find a way to pivot here because they can't just dig battery materials out of the ground, at least yet, unless they come out with some new battery technology in the coming years. So they need to be able to pivot to hydrogen and use that as a fuel. It seems to be more sustainable instead of, figuring out ways to recycle batteries and then also importing all these battery materials into your country, assembling battery packs, all that good stuff. So yes, they need to find ways to make hydrogen viable for their countries for energy dependence, I guess you could say, because they don't have any oil either. All right. So if they can have their own source of transportation that isn't dependent on oil, that isn't dependent on batteries, too much on oil, right? There's no way that you're going to get rid of all those sources of energy. Honda, General Motors, Toyota, BMW, and the Korean manufacturers, Hyundai, Kia, they're all super interested in hydrogen. The rest of the manufacturers outside of that, not quite as much. Hyundai wants to invest nearly $10 billion by 2030 in the development of hydrogen cars and fuel cells. In June, Jang Jae-hoon, president of Hyundai Motor Company, took on the role of chairman for the Hydrogen Committee, a consortium of around 140 global companies dedicated to advancing hydrogen technologies. And they mentioned how Toyota, again, just teamed up with BMW with hydrogen sharing technologies. Here's some potential areas of collaboration. We already talked about hydrogen fuel cell tech. All right, hybrid and electric vehicles, okay? Well, as of right now, Toyota has the superior hybrids over Hyundai. They're more efficient, they're more reliable, they're simpler, they're cheaper to manufacture. Electric vehicles, Hyundai has the advantage. They have 800 volt charging architecture. They have very efficient designs, better technology, better software. As of right now, anyways, that could all change with Toyota's Woven. I mean, if they're in some way able to make both of their companies' hybrids better, and Toyota could benefit quite a bit, seemingly from Hyundai sharing a little bit of expertise with EVs. It's fascinating to think about. But with all this collaboration, it gets me worried if these brands will be able to retain their identity. Honestly, it almost seems like the only way to differentiate the cars in the future is just going to be design only, because everything else is going to have so much crossover with parts and technology. All right, autonomous driving. I mean, I know it's a big thing for these companies. It's a big thing for the potential future. I could care less. I like driving. I like being in control. All right, advanced air mobility, exploring future aviation mobility solutions, including drones and flying cars. Okay, that's kind of pie in the sky stuff. It's just we're a long ways away, unfortunately, from flying cars. But man, that would be cool. I'm going to end with a couple like post-credit nuggets here, I guess you could say. Nissan cuts output of 2 core models. So the Rogue production volume is going down. The Frontier production volume is going down. Why is it going down? Well, they're losing money on them. They're sitting on the lots too long, costing dealerships a ton of money to just have them in stock. Nissan's having to incentivize the heck out of Rogues and Frontiers to move them. And so, you know, they're bleeding money. And the sad thing is, the Rogue is their best-selling vehicle, and they're having to cut production. The Frontier is one of my favorite pickup trucks on the market. I prefer it over the Colorado, the Tacoma. A lot of people have questions about the build quality of the Frontier, but no manufacturer is making perfectly built trucks anymore unless you're getting a Land Cruiser 70 series or something like that we just don't get in America. In the September 5th email to retailers, Nissan said it would cut production on the Rogue and Frontier by up to 40,000 vehicles in September, October. And those nameplates accounted for 40% of Nissan's sales in the first half of 2024. I'm in Nashville. That's pretty much where headquarters of Nissan is. So, and here you go. Nissan is incentivizing 12% of the average transaction price to move a car. The industry average is 7%. Again, if you look at Toyota, Subaru, Mazda, and Honda, those incentives are probably lower than the 7.2%. The Koreans, I would guess, is kind of average right there. Oh, and they did update us on a day supply. It's gone from 106 to 83, and the national average is 81. That's still pretty high. Like 60 days is kind of where you want to be to have cars on the lot and also moving them quickly, or 60 or less. All right, Toyota, like for example, is just cranking them out. I think Lexus is around 40-day supply. All right, so if you're under 60-day supply, you don't have to incentivize your vehicles in theory. Okay, the demand is high for them, so they're coming in, they're going out, coming in, going out, which is really good for the dealerships especially. All right, Rogue production line at Smyrna has shifted from 5 days a week to 4 days a week through the end of October. Nissan also trimmed a day of weekly production on the Frontier down in Canton, Mississippi. I could keep going with Nissan reducing production, but this is also, I mean, obviously that affects where I'm at right now in Tennessee, but and as well as here in the United States, but in China, Japanese manufacturers keep dialing back production. It's not looking good. Honda again scales back factory workforce at their second Chinese joint venture. All right, this is Dongfeng Honda. They also, I think it's GAC is their other one. Yeah, this follows staff reduction in May at GAC Honda Automotive, a venture with state-owned automaker GAC. About 1,700 people agreed to take early retirement back in May. And Honda wants to reduce its production capacity for gas cars, expand their output for electric vehicles, which is still growing in demand in China. Both Honda's joint ventures are beginning their dedicated EV factories in September and November. And it's not looking good for Honda. Their auto sales in China in August fell 44% on the year, the seventh consecutive month of decline. It's not just Honda, it's all the other Japanese automakers to varying degrees. I mean, Mitsubishi pulled out at the end of last year. The exciting news is these massive collaborations happening across the industry to reduce costs, come out with better products, and bring them out to the market faster. So I'm all for it, but let me know down below if you think these companies will be sacrificing their identity in order to produce better cars at a lower cost, or do you think this is just overall a good thing? I mean, what would you like to see of Akio Toyota going down to South Korea? Do you think anything's going to be done with it? Do you think they're going to make some collabs? I would love to see it. All right, like I said, stay tuned for October, for we could see some pretty cool, exciting stuff come out of South Korea. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day and peace.